Good morning and welcome to Tuesdays with the Pilgrim as we continue reading C.S. Lewis's The Great Divorce with Chapter 11, Part B. I saw coming towards us a ghost who carried something on his shoulder. Like all the ghosts, he was unsubstantial, but they differed from one another as smoke differs. Some had been whitish. This one was dark and oily. What sat on his shoulder was a little red lizard, and it was twitching its tail like a whip and whispering things in his ear. As we caught sight of him, he turned his head to the reptile with a snarl of impatience. "Shut up, I tell you," he said. It wagged its tail and continued to whisper to him. He ceased snarling and presently began to smile. Then he turned and started to limp westward, away from the mountains. "Off so soon?" said a voice. The speaker was more or less human in shape, but larger than a man, and so bright I could hardly look at him. His presence smote on my eyes and on my body too, for there was a heat coming off him as well as light, like the morning sun at the beginning of a scorching summer day. "Yes, I'm off," said the ghost. "Thanks for all your hospitality, but it's no good, you see. I told this little chap," here he indicated the lizard, "that he'd have to be quiet if he came, which he insists on doing. Of course his stuff won't do here, I realize that, but he won't stop. I shall just have to go home." "Would you like me to make him quiet?" said the flaming spirit, an angel, as I now understood. An angel, as I now understood. "Of course I would," said the ghost. "Then I will kill him," said the angel, taking a step forward. Look out, you're burning me. Keep away," said the ghost, retreating. "Don't you want him killed? You didn't say anything about killing him at first. I hardly meant to bother you with anything so drastic as that." "It's the only way," said the angel, whose burning hands were now very close to the lizard. "Shall I kill it?" "Well, that's a further question. I'm quite open to considering it. But it's a new point, isn't it? I mean, for the moment I was only thinking of silencing it because it was up here. Well, it's so damned embarrassing." "May I kill it?" "Well, there's time to discuss that later." "There is no time. May I kill it?" "Please, I never meant to be such a nuisance. Please, really, don't bother. Look, it's gone to sleep of its own accord. I'm sure it will be all right now. Thanks ever so much." "May I kill it?" "Honestly, I don't think there's the slightest necessity for that. I'm sure I shall be able to keep it in order now. I think the gradual process would be far better than killing it." "The gradual process is of no use at all." "Don't you think so? Well, I'll think over what you've said very carefully. I honestly will. In fact, I'd let you kill it now, but as a matter of fact, I'm not feeling frightfully well today. It would be most silly to do it now. I'd need to be in good health for that operation. Some other day, perhaps." "There is no other day. All days are present now." "Get back! You're burning me. How can I tell you to kill it? You'd kill me if you did." "It is not so." "Why are you hurting me now?" "I never said it wouldn't hurt you. I said it wouldn't kill you." "Oh, I know. You think I'm a coward. But it isn't that. Really it isn't. I say, let me run back to tonight's bus and get an opinion from my own doctor. I'll come again the first moment I can." "This moment contains all moments." "Why are you torturing me? You're jeering at me. How can I let you tear me in pieces? If you wanted to help me, why didn't you kill the damn thing without asking me, before I knew? It would have been all over by now if you had." "I cannot kill it against your will. It is impossible." "Have I your permission?" The angel's hands were almost closed on the lizard, but not quite. Then the lizard began chattering to the ghost so loud that even I could hear what it was saying. "Be careful," it said. "He can do what he says. He can kill me. One fatal word from you, and he will. Then you'll be without me forever and ever. It's not natural. How could you live? You'd only be a sort of ghost, not a real man as you are now. He doesn't understand. He's only a cold, bloodless, abstract thing. It may be natural for him, but it isn't for us. Yes, yes, I know there are no real pleasures now, only dreams. But aren't they better than nothing? And I'll be good. I admit I've sometimes gone too far in the past, but I promise I won't do it again. I'll give you nothing but really nice dreams, all sweet and fresh and almost innocent. You might say quite innocent." "Have I your permission?" asked the angel to the ghost. "I know it will kill me." It won't, but supposing it did. You're right, it would be better to be dead than to live with this creature. Then may I? Damn and blast you, go on, can't you? Get it over. Do what you like, bellowed the ghost, but ended whimpering, God help me, God help me. The next moment the ghost gave a scream of agony such as I'd never heard on earth. The burning one closed his crimson grip on the reptile, twisted it while it bit and writhed, and then flung it broken-backed onto the turf. Ow! That's done for me, gasped the ghost, reeling backwards. For a moment I could make out nothing distinctly, but then I saw between me and the nearest bush, unmistakably solid, but growing every moment solider, the upper arm and shoulder of the man. Then brighter still and stronger the legs and hands. The neck and the golden head materialized while I watched, and if my attention had not wavered, I should have seen the actual completing of a man, an immense man, naked, not much smaller than the angel. What distracted me was the fact that at the same moment something seemed to be happening to the lizard. At first I thought the operation had failed. So far from dying, the creature was still struggling and even growing bigger as it struggled. And as it grew, it changed. Its hinder parts grew rounder. The tail, still flicking, became a tail of hair that flicked between huge and glossy buttocks. Suddenly I started back, rubbing my eyes. What stood before me was the greatest stallion I'd ever seen, silvery white, with a mane and tail of gold. It was smooth and shining, rippled with swells of flesh and muscle, whinnying and stamping its hooves. At each stamp the land shook and the trees dindled. The new-made man turned and clapped the new horse's neck. It nosed his bright body. Horse and master breathed into each other's nostrils. The man turned from it, flung himself at the feet of the burning one, and embraced them. When he rose, I thought his face shone with tears, but it may have been only the liquid love and brightness, one cannot distinguish them in that country, which flowed from him. I had not long to think about it. In joyous haste, the young man leapt upon the horse's back. Turning in his seat, he waved a farewell and nudged the stallion with his heels. They were off before I knew well what was happening. There was riding, if you like. I came out as quickly as I could from the bushes to follow them with my eyes, but already they were only a shooting star off on the green plain, and soon among the foothills of the mountains. Then still like a star, I saw them winding up, scaling what seemed impossible steeps, and quicker every moment, till near the dim brow of the landscape, so high that I must strain my neck to see them, they vanished, bright themselves, into the rose brightness of that everlasting morning. While I still watched, I noticed that the whole plain and forest were shaking with a sound which in our world would be too large to hear, but there I could take it with joy. I knew that it was not the solid people who were singing. It was the voice of that earth, those woods and those waters, a strange, archaic, inorganic noise that came from all directions at once. The nature or arch-nature of that land rejoiced to have been once more ridden, and therefore consummated in the person of the horse. It sang, "The master says to our master, come up, share my rest and splendor till all natures that were your enemies become slaves to dance before you, and backs for you to ride, and firmness for your feet to rest on. From beyond all places and time, out of every place, authority will be given you. The strengths that once opposed your will shall be obedient fire in your blood, and heavenly thunder in your voice. Overcome us so overcome, we may be ourselves. We desire the beginning of your reign as we desire dawn and dew, wetness at the birth of light. Master, your master has appointed you forever to be our king of justice and our high priest." "Do you understand all this, my son?" asked the teacher. "I don't know about all, sir," I said. "Am I right in thinking the lizard really turned into a horse?" "Aye, but it was killed first. You'll not forget that part of the story." "I'll try not to, sir. But does it mean that everything that is in us can go on to the mountains?" "Nothing, not even the best or the noblest, can go on as it is now. Nothing, not even what is lowest and most bestial, will not be raised again if it submits to death. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. Flesh and blood cannot come to the mountains, not because they are too rank, but because they are too weak. What is a lizard compared with a stallion? Lust is a poor, weak, whimpering, whispering thing compared with that richness and energy of desire which will arise when lust has been killed. But am I to tell them at home that this man's sensuality proved less of an obstacle than that poor woman's love for her son? For that was, at any rate, an excess of love. Ye'll tell them no such thing, he replied sternly. Excessive love, did ye say? There was no excess, there was defect. She loved her son too little, not too much. If she had loved him more, there'd be no difficulty. I do not know how her affair will end, but it may well be, at this moment, she's demanding to have him down with her in hell. That kind is sometimes perfectly ready to plunge the soul they say they love into endless misery, if only they can still, in some fashion, possess it. No, no, ye must draw another lesson. Ye must ask, if the risen body of even appetite is as grand a horse as ye saw, what would the risen body of maternal love or friendship be? But once more my attention was diverted. Is there another river, sir? I asked. And that's the end of chapter 11. We'll continue next week with chapter 12. Until then, take care, stay safe, and God bless.